One of my several hobbies is film watching. I will go onto Amazon Prime or iPlayer or whatever and I will find the most interesting film or the most obscure or the weirdest looking or anything that just looks slightly trashy, and the results vary wildly in quality and I love it. But the film I'm going to talk about today is not obscure, but it is trash. I'm going to attempt to unpack the Da Vinci Code in 4 minutes or less. We begin with Tom Hanks giving a lecture as Robert Langdon. Technically we begin with Paul Bettany killing a man at the Louvre, but I'm going to skip past that. Robert Langdon is a professor of symbology, which I've checked, it's not a thing. After the lecture, Tom Hanks is taken to the aforementioned murder crime scene at the Louvre as the victim told the police to get him in invisible ink. Turns out having your name written next to a corpse somewhat implicates you, so now he's on the run. And it is at this point that we meet Sophie, who is the granddaughter of the corpse. And I don't want to diminish her in any way, but she is effectively a Bond girl in a cardigan. Her main role in the movie is to gaze at Robert Langdon and sexily exposit at us. She's also kind of the audience surrogate. So the police are after them, but they still have time to look at all the invisible writing around the body. And as Robert Langdon reads these words, they start floating across the screen like it's a beautiful mind. So we as the audience now know he's a smart boy. But Sophie, all doughy-eyed, looks at him and goes, "You have eidetic memory?" To which Tom Hanks replies, "No, but I can pretty much remember what I see." You've just described eidetic memory. Also, there is no way that she could have got that from him reading words and then immediately writing them down. Like, I can do that. Anyway, some stuff happens and they escape with a cryptex. And apparently, as well as coming up with the tank and the helicopter, Da Vinci also invented Wordle. I'm not kidding, to open the cryptex you have to put in the correct 5-letter word, which for some reason is in English and not Italian. I'm going to skip to my favourite part in the film now, where we meet Serena McKellen playing the only English character in the entire movie, Sir Lee Teabing. This is not the only time they do this. In one of the 2 sequels that this movie has, Ewan McGregor plays an Irish priest called Patrick McKenna. Anyway, Teabing's got some wild fan fiction to share about the Holy Grail and the Last Supper. I should say, I got a real sense while watching this film that the writer really seemed to think it was them versus the audience, which is not the way to endear people to your work, but okay. This is never more prevalent than when Teabing is gleefully patronising our audience surrogate going, "Guess how many cups are in the painting?" 1. Wrong! Turns out there are no cups in the painting and Mary Magdalene was the Holy Grail this whole time, and she and Jesus were married and they had kids, and if you swap this figure with this figure, it looks like they're spooning and they're wearing the same outfit. It's a journey, folks. And if you think that came out of left field, you'd be right. I'm also willing to bet that Dan Brown also found this wild headcanon. It just became the conceit for the entire book. Anyway, they're now on the hunt for the Holy Grail. They fly to London where Teabing betrays them, and after some events, it turns out Sophie is a descendant of Jesus, which is the big twist. Sorry. But to be honest, the rest of the movie isn't actually that interesting, and while I have a lot more to say, I am out of time, so I'm going to skip to closing remarks. Most bad movies usually have one genuinely great line that is absolutely not meant to be as good as it is. In the Da Vinci Code trilogy, this line comes in the second film. Robert Langdon has once again been inexplicably enlisted to help with a major crime investigation, and Stellan Skarsgård rocks up as this big army commander and looks at him sneeringly and goes, "Oh good, the symbologist is here." Best line. So what have we learned? We've learned that symbology is as helpful to criminal investigations as it is a thing. You cannot trust English people. And the real Holy Grail was the friends we made along the way. His name is Sir Lee Teabing.